want to start by asking that classic question, but important one, which is what inspired you to become a coach?
It was quite a typical story, I think, for many professional coaches. And that was I came out the other side of a burnout experience, feeling so free, at peace, and grounded in my life. And I thought, why did no one tell me this was possible? Why did I have to go through that experience to find this on the other side? The confidence I'd never had, the sense of clarity, of purpose, the vitality I was experiencing. I thought, this is amazing. I want other people to be able to experience this
Mm.
themselves. And surely they don't have to go through that really dark night of the soul and burning out and really coming to the end of themselves. Surely there's a way to help people find what I found, maybe more directly or in a less painful, less costly way. And so I threw myself into really answering that question for myself. It started out looking at that in the context of leadership, working with other leaders. And then as I trained as a coach professionally, which has been going on for 10 years now, and practicing as a coach for 10 years, I found some answers to that. That yes, people can find that and experience the same kind of shifts I had without going through that journey. I think it was a reaction to that experience that really threw me into personal development, getting my own coach, countless coaches, getting my own therapist, really investing in personal development. And throughout that process, I worked out for me which different modalities, different types of interventions seem to make the biggest difference for me and for other people, and which could be integrated and combined together in a coaching relationship.
Wow, quite a journey, really, from the beginning and having that inspiration to go on a quest to find out how people could create change without going through the pain.
Pain is a good thing, and it's often the catalyst, I think, for people engaging in coaching, right, or for engaging in some kind of professional help to create change in their lives. And it may, I think, without people feeling or understanding the price they're paying now, the price they're going to pay, I think typically people don't change. I think that's something I've realized is people have to be connected to their desire to change or connected to the consequences of not changing for them to really invest themselves in the process and to get the most out of it. And of course,
Mm.
that's something that we're listening for when we first meet with clients is where are you in that journey? Are you at the point that you're really ready to invest in the process of change? Actually, you're actually
Yeah.
quite comfortable and you're a bit ambivalent.
I think we both know as coaches that it's much, much rarer for people to decide to commit to creating change when they're in a good place, much more when they're in a bad place.
But it doesn't have to unravel. I think that
Indeed.
doesn't have to be like the experience I had, which came off the back of really high performance, really feeling like I was at the peak of my career, having found my niche, my work, my sense of purpose and calling in my work. And then of course feeling I had an awful lot to lose. And then I started not to listen to myself.
Mm.
I think learning to listen to yourself and your inner knowing is certainly core to my work as a coach. I know it's core to so many coaches, is rather than I think what people typically think coaching is about these days, because there are so many people calling themselves a coach. People can think it's I go and I get answers or I get told what to do, or I get a bit of
Yeah.
a kick at the ass to get me to do the things I know I should do, but I'm not doing. But actually, that's just a dependent relationship where you're not growing your own capacity to know yourself and to notice what's going on inside you and how you're acting.
It's all valuable stuff. It's all great. So you mentioned 10-year plus journey in through coaching and in personal development. What's the greatest lesson you'd say that you've learned in that time?
It's really hard to answer that question because there's been a different answer probably every year.
Sure.
An overarching theme would be slow down, to speed up. There's no shortcuts, there's no avoiding the work that you need to do. Sometimes the best thing to do is to give yourself the space and the time, the process to face something you don't want to face.
Mm.
There's a great Joseph Campbell quote that really underpins a lot of the philosophy of my work, which is the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. And oftentimes it's what we're avoiding is where the greatest potential for discovering our freedom and our power is. Often whether it's a difficult conversation with a colleague or someone in your family, whether it's the discomfort of trying out something new. People discover so much about themselves and about what they're capable of when they support themselves in incrementally stepping into that, not pushing themselves too far, too fast, but in a way that's kind to themselves and challenging to themselves. And that's what a coach brings, is support and challenge. But most importantly, we help people learn to do this for themselves. As people learn to incrementally stretch themselves outside their comfort zone more and more and support themselves, look after themselves as they do that, they discover anything's possible for them.
For sure.
And of course, the more their capacity grows for those new experiences and leading into the discomfort, the faster they can go. So it can become exponential.
I like how you started with one lesson and probably moved on to a few there, which is great. I totally get it. It's probably an impossible question to answer. What's the greatest lesson you've learned? There's many, but you started with talking about slowing down to speed up. But
Mm.
of course, that's interlinked with lots of other themes.
Because when you slow down, you have the ability to actually notice more of what your senses and maybe what you might call your embodied wisdom, your body is telling you that you've been disconnected from, perhaps because you've been in go, go, go mode, just
Mm.
grinding and pushing yourself, and you've been ignoring what parts of your mind or your body have actually been signaling to you. When you slow down, often you discover, and I see my clients discover, I do have clarity actually. I've just been
Mm.
moving too fast. I've had my head too full, and I've not been looking after myself enough to realize and yes, it feels scary and uncomfortable, but I could take the first step.
And I guess linking it to your quote, the cave that people fear to enter is often the slowing down cave, right? Uh, we come across a lot of people that are afraid to go there. I can't slow down. But
Right.
as you're saying, there's the treasure.
Because they do know they're avoiding something and they know it's going to be uncomfortable to slow down because it will resurface and some things will confront them and some things will remain hidden until they're ready and willing to face them.
Mm.
And it's often a concern that comes up for clients, and it's something that professional coaches are attuned and trained in calibrating to is people say, oh, I'm not sure I'm ready to work on that, or I'm not sure I'm ready to face that. And we respect and work with what people are ready to work with and work with, I suppose, enough to get people moving. We don't need to work through everything that can be worked through. We're working on what's going to provide leverage, what's going to unlock your next steps, the next stage for you and your freedom in this moment. It is incremental. And people's capacity to face difficult stuff grows over time in a coaching relationship. And that's
Mm.
why it's important for people to really commit to the process because it compounds and everything we work on builds on and compounds on the previous work and people's capacity to face and work through and find freedom from bigger and bigger things that have held them back grows throughout the process. People might start the process think, wow, this is amazing. I've got everything I need. Right, I'm ready to go. And it's true for the thing that they came into coaching for, they have got what they needed very quickly. But then if they stay with the process, they discover a whole nother level of freedom and ease with themselves and moving through life that they had no idea was possible. They discover a whole lot of perhaps desires they were disconnected from, a sense of purpose that perhaps they were disconnected from, and their ambitions and goals evolve and change. And now they're aiming for something even better. And the obstacles in the way of those, they get worked through as they need to.
Great message. I think people need to hear that message just on its own. Really important. So I'd love to hear how your personal experience enables you to support your clients.
I'd say. So professionally, been working in business for 20 years, 16 of those years leading change for large global organizations, leading, developing, recruiting my own teams, coaching other leadership teams, consulting with clients and guiding them through transformation in their organizations. And through that process, lots of difficult things get stirred up. Change is difficult for people. People become threatened. Politics emerge. And as part of that process, there's the need to navigate people through their careers and work through conflict and tensions and leadership and tensions between people's professional lives and their personal lives. And I've guided and supported hundreds of leaders around the world through what you find in the workplace. And I've also had to work through a lot personally. I experienced neglect and abuse as a child, and that instilled in me some really unhelpful programming about what to expect from the world and from other people. That really imprisoned me and limited and constrained so much of my potential. I didn't start professional life really tapping into any measure of my true capability because I had so many beliefs and programs and expectations that held me back. So much interference, you could say. But I invested, thanks to, in part to my burnout experience, of really getting to a point of exasperation with my
Mm,
self-sabotage and this cognitive dissonance, this experience of knowing in some ways I had these measures of I had a really high level of capability, and yet I just wasn't able to bring it into the world. I wasn't able to create a life that I felt I should be able to create. And so investing in what is now probably 15 years or so, a massive investment into personal development through my own coaching, therapy, and other work enabled me to find freedom, tap into all of my potential, and express all of my potential, both professionally and personally. I've been with my partner for 15 years, and my marriage was a failure, I think it's fair to say, for at least, I'd say probably at least half of that time. It was, to many people, they might perceive it as being healthy, but there were real gaps. And there was it really wasn't what a relationship could be and can be, and is now. And so turning a failing marriage into a thriving marriage, having children, being amazing co-parents, supporting my partner, my wife, and having a thriving career herself, whilst she's also a mother, whilst I'm also having a thriving career, enabling and finding a way for us to all thrive and succeed in all areas of our life has taught me a lot about what enables that. And I've helped a lot of clients find that the whole of life vitality, balance, and in integration for them too, because it is very personal and there are lots of tensions and trade-offs in that. But there is a way to find something that works for you. People talk about how you can't have it all at the same time. And I don't like that answer. I'm not satisfied with that answer because I feel like you can have what really matters to you all at the same time. You really can. And you can have vitality even when you're sleepless, you've got a baby or a toddler or a young child who's not sleeping, who's struggling to adjust, I don't know, to school or something like that. That can be creating immense stress and pressure in your life, and your work can be going through massive disruption. Everything in your life can be going to hell, if you like. And yet you can be grounded and be at peace and feel you're moving towards your goals and the things that are important to you. And I've had a lot of people through that kind of experience working with senior leaders who are dealing with really difficult stuff going on in their home lives, personal lives, make big shifts in their personal relationships, family life, and in their career simultaneously whilst looking after their personal well-being. I think most of us need support. We need someone to hold the space and help us hold up a mirror to us and help us see how we're showing up, see the choices we're making, perhaps kind of unconsciously, automatically, help us become really conscious and deliberate about the choices we're making and help us really see what's possible. Sometimes even just to help us process and digest how difficult it is so that we can move on. How can I help people? Right. So I think a simple answer would be I've worked at all levels of leadership in organizations. I've worked in just about every function or discipline you find in an organization, in part because I worked in consulting and I ended up taking on lots of interim roles, often say for 9 months at a time, helping different functions transform and change. So I've seen a lot in the business world. I've had to work through a lot of unhelpful programming from my childhood and my personal life. I've had to work through relationship challenges, parenting challenges, and I've found a way to thrive throughout all of that. And I've found a way to help other leaders thrive through all of that too.
there's lots of amazing stuff. I like that reframe around you can't have everything all the time, but you can have all the things that really matter at the same time, which is powerful. And I completely agree with all of that varied background and experience and so much passion clearly in what you do and helping people thrive and create space for the things that matter to them. in reality, you help people with a wide range of challenges, right? The work you do touches all areas of life and all areas of a person. What are the one or two specific things that really get you excited straight away? You're like, I cannot wait to work on that.
What gets me really excited when I meet a client is where they have a desire or a vision to create a positive impact on others. So it could be as mundane as I really want to transform my relationship with my children or with my partner, my spouse, or it could be I want to transform the culture and the position in the marketplace of my organization. I want to reinvent my career because I recognize I have these gifts and I see this unmet need and massive problem in the world that needs people like me to get involved. So for me, it's a desire to be of service to the world and to create a positive impact in the world. That's what I'm about. And when I see that in my clients, I get excited because I get to partner with them in sharing their gifts in a way that makes the world a better place.
Makes total sense, and I agree with that. I've asked all of the coaches this question recently, and everyone's had a different answer, which is great to see. That one's unique again, and I completely agree. It's, in a way, you're getting to amplify the impact of the work you're doing, right, through the cause that someone else is working towards.
And I mean, there's particular changes I could speak to that would perhaps get me even more excited, perhaps because of the meaning that I make about how important those things they want to work on are. But the deeper wisdom within me knows that when someone is living at their best, they are reconnected to their life force, their vitality, they are thriving in all spheres of life. That has an amazing ripple effect, butterfly effect that impacts all the people they come into contact with, even the very weak ties. When someone is fully alive, integrated, connected to their essence, free, loving, powerful, it's infectious, and other people want some of that. It's unstoppable, really. So when someone's being and their way of being in the world really transforms, everyone they come into contact with is positively impacted by it. So that to me is exciting. If someone wants to work on how they're showing up in the world, their way of being, that's exciting. If they want to change something that's a problem or broken in the world, that's exciting. If they want to be of service and share their gifts in the world, that's exciting to me because the world needs all of that.
What I would love to ask you is if someone was watching this and considering trying coaching, what's the unfiltered version of what you would love to say to them?
Slow down and notice everything that's coming up for you. See if you can give a voice to it. Write it down. Because if you ignore it and you push it, because some of what will come up will be some uncomfortable stuff, right? There might be some anxiety about it or doubt about it. All of that is really valuable insight about you and how you do anything, because how you do anything is how you do everything, right? Pay attention to that and bring that to whatever coach you're thinking about working with. Bring that into the conversation, and they can help you see what that can tell you about yourself. They can help you change your relationship to what's coming up in a way that serves you so you can tap into your wisdom, tap into all your abilities, your inner guidance system, if you like, and actually use that experience to learn about yourself and make a choice that's right for you. I think what I'd probably also say, if someone's thinking about coaching, recognize that every coach is different and anyone can call themselves a coach. Accredited professional coaches are skilled in doing something quite distinct from what most coaches actually do. Most people, they tell you what to do, but like a doctor. So they diagnose the situation. So you need to take this medication or you need to go have this operation and I'll arrange for that to be done for you. Or I'll give you this exercise routine you need to follow. And that's great for that one thing you brought into the conversation, right? Okay, great. You fixed my problem. Wonderful. And that's valuable. But what a professional coach who's trained to work like we do will do is actually they will help you make sure that that goal, that challenge you've actually brought in the first place is really the thing the thing you really do want to work on as your most authentic self, that you're working on it in a way where you're finding the answers and you're developing the ability to work on it yourself so that when there's an idea or an insight, because it's come from you, you can't help but embody it. And you can't help but live it out. So it's not this prescription, this document, this pill, or the doctor's given you. It's coming from you because something has changed inside you permanently. It's not just you've been given a new program to run, it's a whole new operating system. It's not just an app, it's a whole new operating system. And it's whole new hardware that this kind of app is running on because you've doing the discovery yourself with the coach guiding you through finding the answers that make sense to you. So much reorganization goes on inside your mind, your nervous system, your body, that it then has a multiplying effect actually on a whole range of goals and challenges you might have possibly brought to the coaching process. I'm pointing at deeper work. There's more transformational change available to you than you are probably thinking about when you go to a coach. You might have a specific goal in mind, and absolutely all sorts of different coaches could help you with that. Some of them will tell you what to do, and you'll come up against obstacles and you'll have to go back and get help. Some of them will help you find your own unique, personalized way that feels totally authentic to you, that you feel integrity and maybe even excited about following, and actually help you learn how to develop your own diagnostics inside yourself. You learn to notice what you need to notice and to problem solve by yourself. So you're not dependent on an expert outside of you. Actually, you've become the expert of your own life, your own experience, your own mind, your own body.
Thank you. So a few parts to it then was about checking in with yourself. Partly was the first part of that, really being honest with yourself. That's what I took from it. Then understanding there's different types of coach, professional and otherwise, and understanding what coaching truly is and why there's so much power in it. That seemed to be the phases of what you'd want people to know.
There's a metaphor that came to mind actually. So I think a lot of people think coaching, it's like, let's say you want to get somewhere, you want to make a change in your life, you want to pursue a goal. Say that's like driving a car. I think what a lot of people think coaching is like, okay, give me the map, off I go, I'll drive my car. Some people think it's actually more about, no, it's more about we're going to help you really get in the zone, right? Maybe we're going to put some better fuel in your tank so you can go faster. We're going to help you really put your foot down on the accelerator. We're going to really help you go faster. But then what most coaching fails to address is the fact that you've got a really annoying bunch of backseat drivers having a go at you all the way. These interferences in your mind. The air in the car is really hot and stuffy, feels really uncomfortable. There's really bad music playing on the radio. Windows are up. You're so focused on driving fast that you are not able to enjoy the amazing scenery and the ride along the way. Or even, in fact, the people in the car who are there with you, who you could enjoy connection with, and even the parts of you that are in the car with you. So professional coaching, as we do it, and as most accredited coaches do, is we help you wind down the windows, pull down the sunroof, turn it into a convertible, and find your own route, not a map that was prescribed to you, and really enjoy the experience. You don't need to get somewhere. You can just enjoy the ride.
Love it. Great analogy. That's powerful. I'm wondering if we could map that out at some point, probably bring that into our conversations as a team, actually. Something.
You get to choose. I think a lot of people feel like, well, they've been given a destination, they've been told they need to get to a destination. But what our coaching would do would actually help you tap into what you actually desire to go and experience. And let's have you fully experience that with openness and joy and make the ride work for you. Drive safely, help you experience that in a safe way where you look after everybody else on the road and all the passengers who are there with you, whether they are just parts of you or actually real family members who might be dependent on you.
100%. It's powerful. Thanks for sharing. Last question for you today. What's your favorite thing about being a coach?
Seeing my clients discover joy, freedom, and their own power to be a force for good.
Seeing your clients discover joy, freedom, and their own power to be a force for good. That's a very concise answer and a very powerful answer. I love it. How does it make you feel when you see that?
Oh, the sense of awe, because I'm seeing, I suppose, what it is to be human, which is we have so much potential, and yet so much of the time we are disconnected from it. because of how we're made. And we have to know how to use this nervous system, this mind, this body we're given, because it's trying to keep us safe, trying to protect us. And a lot of those instincts end up shutting down our life force and our potential. So it's awe-inspiring to see what people are truly capable of, the change that really capable of creating so quickly, and how people can transform before your eyes. Personalities change, right? Personality is not permanent. Personalities change, careers change, marriages change, family relationships change, organizations change, culture change, communities formed. It's a wonderful profession to be a part of. One of my other favorite things about being a coach is it inspires me to work on myself, because when I see what's the transformation that's possible for my clients, I'm reminded that more transformation is possible for me. And it's inspired, therefore inspires me to continue investing myself in the same work process.
I love that. And then how that cycle feeds back into you being able to more effectively help more people. It's brilliant, beautiful.
It was one of the reasons I actually decided to be a coach, and I left it out. My previous answer was I knew there was no other profession that would force me or demand me to grow in the same way. Because this profession, more than any other, is going to demand and require that I grow to make it as to be successful. I will have to keep expanding myself, keep growing, developing myself. And well, if that's not what we're here to do, what are we here to do? So I thought, great, I want to go down that path. That sounds like a great way to live.
I love it. Makes sense, and I agree. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with me.